Hey.
Hello.
You're doing that again, waving.
Silent intro.
Hey guys, and welcome to a developer Q&A. We are back for another week. Today we have the same guests as last week on the sofa. Do you want to introduce yourselves first?
Hi, I'm Mod Pie. I'm a ninja and combat specialist.
I'm Mod Kelpie, project manager and lead ninja.
Mod Stu, content developer on the Guardians team.
And then I am Mod James. I'm hosting today, but I'm also now, as of late last week, officially a ninja as well.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Just to help out with anything that you really fancy. As well as hosting and bringing you, hopefully, the answers to all the questions that you have asked over the threads. You can get involved, as you can see on the bottom of the screen as well. Feel free to submit questions in the Twitch chat. I have a load of questions from Reddit, the forums, the Twitter hashtag already, but feel free to ask more. And at the end, we'll be putting... we'll do sort of like 10 or 15 minutes of ones from the Twitch chat and from the Twitter hashtag as well. We also have the wonderful Mod Asherz with us, who is sat just... Wonderful. He's sat over there. He's sat behind us. And he's going to be demonstrating the Minigame Spotlight and the whole thing to us today. And then he's going to come over and answer some questions that you guys have asked on it as well. So you'll get to see an insight into that. To kick it off, though, I'm going to go first question. I'm going to talk about the bonus XP weekends change. Yes. And this is something which is akin to May.
Yes, so throughout May we're running the bonus weekends. So this past weekend we had a skilling weekend. The reason why we're discussing it is because we're actually changing these around. So we kind of realized that we had like the minigame weekends coming up, but before the Minigame Spotlight went live. So we kind of changed these around. So next weekend is now the Dungeoneering weekend. The following weekend will be the Slayer and Boss weekend, and the last weekend will be the Minigame weekend. The port stuff will remain the same. So
just want to go over exactly, so with the Minigame weekend now, it'll be the same as before, but we'll get the added bonus effects of being part of the Minigame Spotlight?
Yeah, it makes sense that we run it with the Minigame Spotlight stuff that Mod Asherz will be showing off in a bit. So
ultimately no changes to what happens on those weekends? All the bonuses, the benefits, everything you see is still the same?
Switching them around.
Just a switch up of the order?
We should be updating the forms, the news posts or whatever at this time, so hopefully they'll be all up to date soon with that information.
And then one other thing that I had been asked, there was a few Iron Man, or I think there's one or two Iron Man questions that have been asked this week. On top of that, I wanted to ask about Iron Man with regards to the bonus XP, the bonus weekends. I don't want to say bonus XP, sorry. Yeah. The bonus weekends themselves. So with things like the current weekend, fishing spots, etc., not moving, everyone can kind of take advantage of that no matter who you are. With the weekends coming up, such as double tokens, extra base experience, etc., will Iron Man be able to get involved with those?
Not this time around. It was so back when Iron Man started, we had a poll on this sort of stuff, and people voted no. But I believe that's something that after this round of weekends, we will look to probably re-poll again, because I think a lot of people are interested in being able to do them. Like the high scores don't matter so much now because people have like reached like 99s max and stuff like that in Iron Man. So yeah, I think we'll look to re-poll in the near future for this sort of
guess
stuff.
It would be worth a re-poll, because maybe some mindsets have shifted with Gothixian, the butterflies being voted yes to this time around. So.
Yeah, the butterflies was a weird thing because it wasn't something I'd actually... it was weird in the sense that like we kind of polled it because we just weren't 100% sure on that sort of stuff that players kind of cared about. But it is, at the end of the day, it is a solo thing. It is something that players can do. So it was, it
went through. So the majority obviously wanted it. Jumping to the next question from Maxwell B. Can you bring warbands back to their random spawns? It'd be much more competitive, as well as putting people into the world at all times rather than every 7 hours. I guess we'll go over to you, Pi, because you love PvP and you're part of the ninja team. So
I question like making it random being more competitive. The fact that it's at fixed times.
I question the same thing, because then you have less people in the wilderness at a concentrated point of time.
Like the fact that they're at fixed times every 7 hours means that you actually do get a lot of people clashing head to head, which is the whole point. Like, it is supposed to be risk versus reward, and it's a pretty sweet reward. So I'd be interested in hearing a bit more discussion from you guys on that, and like, because it doesn't sound like it's more competitive. At the moment, it is very competitive. You know, you've got lots of Warbands FCs, hopping worlds. There's been some pretty awesome like clan v clan fights, which is awesome to see in our.
As we mentioned last time, there was a tournament based off of some of the Warband FCs.
They're
PvP
really active
tournament, which is
RS3 PvP. So, yeah, I kind of question whether or not it would actually be more competitive.
So you have to see. So I guess if that's something you're after, then you have to just make yourself heard and ask ModPie.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Well, going back to the only other Iron Man question, so I'll get it out of the way to begin with. Aqualost, how limited will Iron Men be in the World Event 3?
They won't be limited at all. They'll be able to take part fully in World Event 3.
And not too long ago, we did some spotlights, or did some kind of like teasers on some of the World Event 3 stuff, and you will be able to, Mod I'll confirm, you will be able to obtain the previous abilities from past world events, and also obviously your War Priest robes and stuff over again. So you'll be able to get those as an Iron Man that way rather than killing Gridor, etc. as well.
I believe so.
Yeah.
In terms of like actually playing through the content and stuff for the world event, they're not limited. I'll need to double check on rewards, but I'm pretty sure they should be able to get all. But just a note on that. I posted on the forums earlier today to announce that the Tusker World event will now be kicking off on the 1st of June. So previously we had discussed in like some of these RuneScape TVs that it would be coming out in May, but we had a number of players giving feedback on the fact that they got exams during that time. We looked at some of the historic like player figures, and because world events are limited time only, we wanted to make sure as many players as possible had the chance to play it. So therefore we moved it back into the 1st of June.
Seems like a good idea. And then, so A Mighty did ask, when exactly will the Tusker event be released, I guess? Yeah. His question has just been answered. Next up, Moonman75. Any plans for the future of Menaphos? I'm going to come to you.
Yeah, I checked with Mod Riley about this one, and it's pretty much the same answer we always say for this. We do have plans to do things with Menaphos when that comes around. It's not currently in the release schedule, and the plans that we have will ultimately change when we come to actually start developing it. It's certainly not going to be on the same sort of scale as Thinnest, though. It's not going to be the Mach 2 version of that. It'll be on a much smaller scale.
Well, there's a lot of area in the desert, but the actual area marked out isn't quite as big as
but it wouldn't be like this gigantic scaling hub, but the same sort of sense.
Okay, a random question then, because I know that you love the lore of RuneScape and stuff, and that's what you're very passionate about. What would you do to Menaphos if you had your free reign with it?
Honestly, I've not worked on the project enough to really give an assessment.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, and I'm going to jump across to you, Mod Kelpie, with a fairly bigger one that was asked quite a lot this week. It was to do with the previous discussions in the CLF with Mod Maz and Matt He. The clan permission rewrite is not being done because, as a whole, it's just a project that's too large. Since clans are a huge part of today's RuneScape community, why can't we get any focus on clan-related updates?
So, I guess with that project in particular, I guess if it was a case of that, we felt it was like super vital, like we would be getting it out, we would be putting the resources to get out. That said, the Ninja team, we will be looking at some clan stuff in the near future. So the funnel, getting into clans, starting a new clan, leaving one clan, joining another, we're going to take a look at that, streamlining it, making it more easier. I imagine we're going to be looking at some other things like improving avatars a bit. So there will be some clan stuff coming through, but the permissions rewrite, like some of that might be included with some of the funnel stuff. We'll have to see.
Okay, but it will be taken on probably as more of a ninja project rather than a small ninja fix, more of a project. So a load of fixes.
Ninja type project. Yeah,
sort of thing.
Improving the game. Yeah.
All right, cool. Bucket of Magic asks, any updates on the construction and smithing overhauls? I don't know when these have necessarily been promised. In my head, I'm thinking it's probably something that Mod Mark was like at RuneFest, was like, smithing needs an overhaul, and then everyone kind of like got behind it. I don't know, but I've heard of it in the past with smithing and construction overhauls. Any updates or plans on that?
Not really. So at this time, we're having a number of meetings where we're discussing like the future of RuneScape and what we want to do with it and such. These sort of things crop up in those. So they are actively being discussed, but what we actually do hasn't been finalized or anything. So
there's no like plans in the backlog essentially right now. Well, there are no. I guess
yeah, I mean, they're in the backlog, but we've got a massive backlog. There's so many projects that everyone wants to do and stuff. It's all about prioritizing them and such.
So the other thing to that is Artisan, and what is going to be happening with Artisan kind of might link into smithing, potentially with weapons and working on weapons and that kind of thing. So a lot of big links in there. There was a thread on Reddit, I think earlier this week or last week.
Sorry, did you mean Inventor?
Sorry, what did I say? Okay, is that where Simon's like laughing?
Yeah.
I don't know why I said Artisan. I don't know why. Spent too much time looking after the old school Q&As. They always mention it. That's why. I apologise, Inventor. Why did you stare blankly at me? Why don't you just tell me?
I was trying to work out if you knew
Simon laughing at me. Okay, you guys just like, what is this guy on about? Like, just tell me.
I assume there's some cross-pollination from old school that we weren't aware of.
Trying to like figure out myself. It was like, if I miss something, it's like, am I going to make myself look really stupid?
Okay, right. I meant Inventor. So obviously there's quite an overlap with like smithing and stuff as well because of obviously the weapons that you smith. But someone on Reddit last week made a post about at the same smithing level, you unlock the requirement to make like a rune item, forge some kind of dragon item, and then make an item in the player imports area, I think it was. And so, in a way, do you think it is worth a rework? I guess it would be a massive job, though.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because like a high number of our players have already progressed through most of that content. So you're reworking a lot of stuff that people won't actually be engaging with. Top end, definitely. I think you just kind of like end game content like smithing and stuff is probably needed, and we will be hopefully to bring some of that with Inventor and such. But that's one of the reasons why Inventor was never made a skill, is because you've got to create all that lower level stuff that we don't really need that stuff.
I guess the benefit for a lot of our player base wouldn't be.
It's the higher level players that you really need the content and such. So creating a whole load of stuff for noobs and such isn't essentially needed.
Well, there's like the newer players, there's a lot of content I guess to already play through that would be new to them, and I guess the existing core.
I mean, it'd be definitely nice to do, but when we're talking about like prioritizing stuff and what to work on next and stuff, this is the sort of things we're thinking about.
And then just as a random question, so people kind of could engage it from either yourself, Pi, or Stu, both as developers. How big would something like a construction rework be? Like, what would that entail in terms of like the size of development?
Construction, quite large.
Sorry, because construction or smithing, either one. They're both mentioned in the question.
In terms of balancing, quite a huge cost. You're rebalancing a whole skill. It's not something that should be taken lightly. If you're collapsing room down, like you've got to think about all the influences. Like right now, there's going to be tons of players in there with a ton of rune bars in their bank because they want to like train ridiculously fast in their smithing, and then you go, oh lol, rune bars, they're about like a tenth of the XP they were before. It's like you're going to get a lot of complaints.
I guess the other thing to do is like, what would you replace the higher levels with? Because you can't have people just like smithing Bando's armor, and because otherwise then you've got to implement something to do with Bando's rare drop becomes a bar rather than its armor, and then it just starts and then it starts to get a bit crazy everywhere, massive rework. So
yeah, so in terms of like a design task, just a design task, it's actually quite monumentous.
Yeah, each of these skill reworks is a very large project, and as a result, that would eat up several developers over the course of several months. And we still need to be producing weekly updates during that time. So unfortunately, that means that we can't commit to many large projects simultaneously. We have to find that the one thing that we're going to focus on significant, like for example, Invention, and fill out more of the update schedule with smaller updates.
I think it's worth saying that we're also going to be taking like players' opinions on board a lot with this sort of stuff. And we've talked about previously, obviously we're working on kind of raiding at the moment as like a XXL size project, and
that's my next question. Ooh.
next, the next sort of like XXL projects and stuff, we'll definitely want players involved in helping choose what those are and such. So, if this is something that players really, really want, then it will be something that we will deliver.
So the next question was just, I don't know who it came from, just said, any update on raids?
So, can't really give too much.
Well, we spoke to Chris Al earlier, didn't we? Asked him about it. So.
The team are working away on it. They're working on like the initial bosses, but I think we'll get them along in a couple of weeks' time or something like that to give more teasers and such. But can't really say too much. Yeah,
the one thing we definitely will do is we'll give you some small teasers. We're not going to go, like here's a full demonstration of raids or whatever they are, but we'll show you like some cool teasers, some cool pictures and things like that as it gets closer to, I guess, what we could call first release of raids. But that's what Mod Chris Al did say. He said, look, they're coding it. He's busy coding it. So there you go. There's your update. However, what we're going to do now is we've got loads more. We've got a fair few big topic questions that we'll come back to. But first off, we're going to jump over to Mod Asherz in game, who is going to show us the Minigame Spotlight.
Hello. Right, so before we get started, if you've got any questions during for all of this, put them into the Twitch chat and I'll try and sort of answer them once I've shown you through this. So mini games themselves, they're slowly sort of dying, I guess is the word you're looking for. What we've tried to do is try to revive that a little bit more with a whole new system. We were hoping for some design. We went back and forward between you guys as a community. We put up a blog post, got some feedback, and hopefully have implemented all of the ideas. So what we've done is we've got, at the moment, this is only at the moment, we've got 13 games that sit in a rotational basis. Every 3 days, a new spotlight will come into focus, a new mini game will come into focus. And then within that time that it's in focus, you'll earn a different currency called Thaler. This, while the mini game is in Spotlight, you'll earn at 500% better, so you'll get sort of roughly about 1 currency per minute. Otherwise, if you play the mini games outside of the Spotlight, you'll then earn them at 1 every sort of 5 minutes. What we've tried to do is we've tried to base the currency off of the amount of time that you spend in game in the mini game. So if you spend 5 minutes within a spotlighted minigame, you'll get roughly about sort of 5 currency. And then obviously if you do 5 minutes in a non-spotlighted one, you'll only get 1 currency, that kind of situation. So what we've got, every single minigame will have a podium, like such. Nice little sort of podium that's been slightly stolen from one of the world events and recolored. It looks lovely, it's all good. And we've also got Stanley Limelight, who's our new NPC. He will be controlling all of the shop and any information that you will want to gain based on this. So I've already set this account up with some currency and stuff as well. So we'll jump right into the shop. So the shop will at the moment contain what we feel from each of the mini games you players like to deserve. They're all balanced based on the amount of time it would have probably taken you to do that mini game. So for instance, you've got Profound Armor down here at a really high value because it will take you so long to get so many Castle Wars tickets to pay them off. But they all sort of vary based on what sort of mini game they've come from. So have a quick skim through. We've got all the hybrid armor as well, all that sort of stuff. We've got bits of skilling gear, so sort of tokens and charms, sort of the master robes, bits from Cabbage Face Punch, sort of patch bombs, Slayer tickets. Most of you will probably be more appropriate to the MISC tab. So the MISC tab will give you yellow eggs. We've got some pets in here, like Jad. You've got your Silverhawk boots back on. I did tweet about those a little while back, as well as note paper, clue scrolls, and prismatics. And then we have a limited edition tab. So the limited edition tab is going to be used for treasure hunter items that you potentially haven't gotten in the time where they were. So they'll be in the store for a very limited time. And once they're off of there, that's it. There's no more, not coming back, full stop, game over. And again, these have been balanced based on sort of how long they've been out and everything that's in there. But they will change on a very periodic case. So keep coming back, keep checking. And yeah, just keep an eye on those. So that's basically it for it, really. So what will happen is obviously the NPC, Stanley himself, will move between each minigame as and when sort of the minigame comes on Spotlight. Another one is, if I drag this over, so I've also restructured slightly the minigames tab. There's a new button right on the top which will give you the exact minigame that is in Spotlight, and as you click on it, it'll get all your standard items. It will tell you how long it's got left in Spotlight, so Stealing Creation currently has a day left. And then within the scroll tab, each of the ones that are coming up next, so you get to prepare for what you want to do, will have different icons. So next up, so tomorrow, Cabbage Face Punch Bonanza is going to be up. Then it's going to be Heist with the 2 dots, and then Trouble Brewing with 3 dots. So again, once each of these goes through, a new one will cycle in to say when it comes up. And again, these come in 3 days, so Trouble Brewing is going to show itself in 7 days. And again, I've sort of added a few more onto here as well. So you've got like Trouble Brewing wasn't on here before, and Fishing Trawler as well. So a few added extras for you to keep an eye on if you wanted to stick them into your favourites, which I don't actually have any mini games in here, but there we go. So that's pretty much it for what I can give you a very quick run through of the Minigame Spotlight, how it's meant to work. But obviously, if you have any more questions, please ask them away. I know Mod James has a few questions for myself already, but we'll try and answer as many as we can from the Twitch chat. But on that, I will hand you back over, and I will come and join the guys on the couch.
Hey guys, welcome back. And Mod Asherz is going to be coming and joining us just here as well, because of a load of questions that you'd asked pre-hand, as well as ones from the chat as well. I'll bring up the first one from Kakamile. Are you looking into adding or removing items from the shop that was teased on Friday? So you put out a teaser on Friday, didn't you?
I did put out a very brief tease, I think it was. So the stuff in the shop at the moment has all been sort of balanced and gauged from players. Like I said, from the massive forum chat that we had, players wanted to pull in certain items that they like the look of, but because the minigame is dead or no one plays it, that they sort of wanted another way of gaining it. But that's not saying that we can't actually add any more in. So there is room for
about things like Halos, VIP tickets, Trouble Brewing banners and such.
So Slayer VIP tickets were in there.
Yeah.
The Halos and stuff, I don't see why not. Again, it's just a case of a slight balancing to say how long it would take to actually get them, but generally it should be quite a quick and easy thing to add into the shop.
So going forward, they can expect maybe some updates to the,
certainly.
shop. All right, he came in again with another question asked about, you earn points based on how much time you've actually spent in the minigame rather than completing it, etc. Yes. What does this mean for minigames such as Castle Wars or Soul Wars, where there's a fixed period of time where you potentially have to sit in a lobby before the game can start? So
you won't get it for that part, but you'll get it for the time you physically get thrown into a game. Okay. So when you start an actual game of Castle Wars, i.e. you get ported into the castles, and then you kind of go from that point. That is your sort of starting point. But saying that, you can generally kind of get pulled in halfway through at the lobby if a game's already running. You should be able to gain points from that point as well. Okay. So it's when you're physically in the minigame.
Max Robbie has asked, there's currently not much incentive to go above the minimum level of input required whilst inside the minigame. Are there any plans to reward people who care to probably take part within the minigame? For example, with Castle Wars, actually actively going for the flag, etc.
That's true. There's not currently, but that's not to say that will change. So yeah, I guess with Castle Wars, that's kind of a very kind of interesting point where you do have a lot of people just kind of sitting there waiting for a game to end. But with part of that, obviously, we stuck the Profound Armour in the shop, which is your requirement to get your comp cape. So you can obviously use the same amount of time in another game to get the same piece of armour as well as using Castle Wars
So
tickets to get another piece of armor.
I guess it gives you a bit of variance as opposed to just staying in the one
Yeah.
minigame for X.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're hoping for, yeah. So if it's not on Spotlight, you obviously can run off to somewhere else, go off to like Trouble Brewing or something, do a little bit in there, gain some currency, come back, sit in your Castle Wars for a bit more. You then got your points tallying up slowly. But yeah, that's the idea behind it. So you can gain the stuff you need, not necessarily AFKing away in like Castle Wars, for instance. So,
from Maradim, have you considered giving us the uses to the hybrid armor received from minigames outside the minigames themselves, maybe even as like a degradable set? I guess this comes to you as well, Pi, I guess. Because those sets are OP inside the minigame. At least, like,
disgusting.
like
Deliberately so. They're kind of like a pre.
They're hard to get as well.
Yeah.
To be fair, just like isn't it RNG as well? Like,
it was.
Yeah,
it's now changed because I've put they're now in the shop as a reward.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So
they might not be so bad to get, but they're still going to be. Yeah, everyone's going to be running around mini games.
Like on that.
Good enough, we hope. Yeah. But yeah, that's quite a fun one, I guess, for outside of mini games. Is they're very, very OP armor. So
I guess it was just designed for that one purpose, and we'll probably stay designed that one
Yeah.
purpose. Ravenswood 10 has asked, you can now buy Profound Armor from the new Spotlight system. Will this cut down the time it takes to get the Trim's Completionist cape? And if so, by how much?
no, it
So
shouldn't.
have you balanced it?
So yeah, the price of the armor is based on what you would generally take in a Castle Wars game with tickets. I think it's assuming you've won every game. It's generally based that amount of time will give you that amount of currency.
So if it's based on the fact you win every game, then surely it would be faster.
It probably would. You probably would maybe get well, it depends because you could sit in Castle Wars, AFK Castle Wars as much as you need, but if Castle Wars also isn't in Spotlight, you're not gaining enough currency to also help you push up.
Okay, I'm going to trust.
so
Mod
you
Maltair
could-
designed this one.
He is, yeah. Mod Maltair was the one that kind of balanced with Mod Timbo for a bit of balancing as well. So hopefully between the pair of them, they've hopefully sussed enough out.
Good luck, guys. It's going to be.
It's coming your way if it's wrong.
Darth Vader Madhouse asked, will you be implementing, or will you be bringing out and implementing new high score tables for the minigames which do not currently have them? So that's slightly outside of the minigame Spotlight, but
Is this sort of seasonal high scores or
I guess at the minute
permanent?
there
high
are some
scores?
permanent high scores. I'm trying to think off the top of the head what minigames. Mobilizing Armies, for example, has like a high score.
Yeah.
Any others, I
Barbarian
guess.
Assault.
Yeah.
Has all
Oh, there's the different roles in BA.
Yeah,
I guess it depends on the minigame, doesn't it?
yeah,
Whether
definitely.
There isn't any current plans, as far
Right.
as I'm aware, to do that.
If
That
there's
doesn't
enough enough support for it, then I
Yeah.
don't see why not. So
Yeah. I mean, like
forum
well,
it up.
requires web work, and we need
That's
to check
fine.
with them.
We
but
don't mind. We don't mind about them.
And then some of the questions from the chat at Skillaroggy. What will happen to current Castle Wars tickets?
They're still in game. They're still being used. So yeah, still keep getting them. There's no reason why you shouldn't. Yeah.
And then, alright, okay.
Yeah.
And then, Joking RS. Will the currency be? I'm just gonna wait for it to scroll down. Will the currency be obtainable from Treasure Hunter?
No.
So it's-
No. It's purely you have to be inside a minigame to gain this currency.
And then finally from RS Per, can you buy Castle Wars armor with this new currency? So the answer.
You can. It's the profound armor and the decorative armor.
So can you
is
buy?
also in there as well.
Oh, so you can get all the tiers.
You can get just those two. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just profound and decorative.
Fair enough. I guess you can feel free to. Also, someone says, can Iron Man accounts use as well? Influencers, can Iron Man accounts use this?
Iron Man accounts can use it if they can get in the minigame. Is basically the thing behind it. If it's being blocked by any form of minigame that players wanted to block it by, then no, they can't. But if they can get in it, they can get the currency.
So as long as they're in it and it's on the spotlight, then they're all good.
Yeah. Well, they don't have to be in the spotlight, but you get better rates for while it's in the spotlight.
I guess that is it for the minigame spotlight questions. However, Mod Asherz is a developer, so feel free to chip in as and when you fancy on the other questions as well. But we're jumping back over to some of these. I'm going to start off with Arch Lycifer. Can we expect to see another Super September promotion to make a return in the future? So, do you want to go over what last Super September was? It was the raffle.
Yes, I believe so. We had the raffle where you could get some like previous items like Death Touch darts. You were able to get like the banks. You were able to get golden versions of God Swords and War Priests.
There was the gold War Priest. Yeah, that was really cool.
Well, there will be something, no doubt, for September. What we actually do in September hasn't been decided yet.
So there's no promises that it will be another raffle or anything of the sort, but there will be some kind of...
Yeah, it seems like
community.
Ninja will be picking up, so if you guys have got any ideas then...
then feel free to send your ideas to the Ninja. Free Profound Armor!
No.
There you go. Into the next question. Mod Kelpie, this is coming to you again. Can you tell us a bit more about the up-and-coming Rune Labs quest competition? Rough size, date, any limitations, etc.?
Cool, yeah. So I can't remember when and why I announced this. But yeah, so in December, the Rune Labs content that we'll release will be a quest. It will be of medium size. Other than that, I think everything else, anything else goes. I believe players will get to decide this not next month, the one after.
Okay, so they've got a little while. Yeah. That's a while away.
Yeah,
Is that the next quest?
Yeah, I think it's July. Yeah, I think July they'll get to decide December's content, and the criteria will be medium-sized quest, what it's about, up to the players really.
And Mod Stu, what quest would you like it to be? You'd worked on quite a lot of quests, obviously.
Yeah,
You mentioned for Disaster being a huge one. So.
No, I mean, to be entirely selfish, I would love to do the sequel to Death of Chivalry, but that's probably not very likely. I'd imagine Rite of Passage will probably come up again. That's pretty much inevitable.
Medium, so I'm afraid I'll be on
here's the thing,
rejecting.
The players who want the Rite of Passage are obviously fairly vocal, and they've been vocal about it for a long time. There's a lot of followers of Armadillo, etc. What do you think the players will do? Do you think they'll wait for the next large-scale quest and try and promote it again, or do you think they'll just be like, all right, we can scale back and push it again through a medium
Whether
quest?
they promote it or not, it always gets pushed up there on like the first day or two of supporting, and I end up rejecting it for the current month.
You seem
until
like
it's so mean.
You look like you take some satisfaction.
I've seen this every day.
It's once it's you. I think we've already discussed like that it requires a large update that for rites of passage. So until the criteria is for a large, then it will continue to be rejected. Yes.
Next one is a ninja type request from Wild Styles RS. Since nobody uses the Scepter of the Gods as an actual magic staff, can we please remove the level 30 magic requirement from it? I'm guessing the point of this is so a level 3 skiller could wear it.
Yeah, I'm thinking for skillers. I don't see any reason why not.
Yeah, it's just used for its teleports, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah,
generally.
It's not. I don't think it's tradable either, is it? Is it
no, it's a high level.
Yeah, because you can trade. You can trade the
sarcophagus.
Pharaoh's one, but you can't trade the Staff of the Gods.
Yeah,
can you?
yeah.
So if he's got it, then I guess
it's being written down, guys.
there you go.
Right.
He's brought his pad again. Have you got anything else on there this week?
Not so far.
I tell you what we should do. We should do follow up from previous week.
Has this gone into game yet?
He's looking.
Previous week.
We've done none of it.
No, we have. The Great White Shark already works with the Porter, so there you go, that's the one we did. And the attack strength training at the same time we haven't progressed on, I'm going to be honest.
Okay, should we do that, or shall I pretend this didn't happen so we don't have to do it in a future week? Okay, I'm going to jump into a big question. I'm going to come back to you, Pi, while you write that down, because it's a pretty big one, and there's a few questions. There's 3 different questions here. I'm going to read them all out first, and then we can have a discussion. Then we can have a discussion about it.
A big tummy combat discussion.
It's going to be quite a big combat discussion. Yeah. Okay, so first off, Ravenswood 10 came in with, do you have any plans to make shields more useful? They're currently only used for a few niche roles, such as bomb tanking. Kai299 came in with, and I've rephrased because his question was aggressive. All right. Armor and the stat/bonuses it provides maybe can be seen by many as slightly broken. Are there any plans to rework it in the near future? And then Colorfin has come in with, there are still some flaws with the combat system here and there. Are there any plans to commit to having a developer full-time on the combat system as a whole, rather than just putting out the few, and then he's put down here, JMod Pi, because you're the man, just doing a few tweaks in between other projects. They don't seem to cut it anymore.
Wow. Okay. So
yeah. So like some big questions. But the point was,
right,
some of them are quite aggressive. So in the future, if you would like to get your question asked properly, then feel free to write it in a less aggressive way, I guess, at Mod5, because we do want to answer all of your questions. We don't want to just shove it under the rug, shy away from it, don't ask it. We would like to ask it. So put it in a more like constructive manner, and we're even more likely to ask it. So
yeah.
Discussion on these things. Where are we going to start?
Right, we'll start from the top. So shields. I think that the real problem they're really asking is getting a high level shield, because actually, if you're like good with a shield, those things are awesome. Like we've seen guys with like 1 defense like beat Araxor using no food but just using a shield, right? So like to say that all shields are just rubbish is just it's completely wrong.
Well, for example, yesterday there was someone who managed to pull out. How many was it? I can't remember how many it was now. Simon, how many? He's doing 43. I was thinking 7. It wasn't 7. So some guy put out 43 neck skills on a single trip, solo.
Yeah.
So like,
and I bet you they were using a shield. So I think we get this come up a lot, and I think it's more to do with giving like pushing higher level shields. We put scaling on a lot of abilities, and I've seen some posts by our good friend Mr. GW about like pushing that scaling into more places, and that's something that we can look to, because we really do want you guys to upgrade your shields. I mean,
I guess shields abilities don't scale with defense right now, do they? Do any scale with defense?
They don't. Or they are not based on defense level.
Do any of them scale with level of shield?
Yeah,
they do. Okay.
So the damage that bash does, the amount resonance heals, the amount of damage that reflect does, all of that scales based on your shield level. So we have given you some reasons to upgrade it, but we if we need to push that further, then that's something we're happy to look into, because obviously we want you guys to want the high level shields.
Fair enough. Then we'll go into armor next, I guess.
Yeah, armor's a big debate. Like we've changed armor in a big way twice.
The biggest way, I guess, was removing the exponential stats armor gave, and then the your HP bonus coming off armor as opposed to...
Yeah, so like obviously there was the initial EOC release, which changed things massively. We've got a new like attack defense calculation. There's no more like offensive stats on armor. Like so that was a big change, and it's something we're looking to kind of revert and bring back. It's not something that we're happy keeping. The life points change we did during Legacy, that again was seen as a massive devaluation of armor itself, but sadly that's just a change we had to do, based on like a lot of feedback from lower levels and things, and the HP is on the higher levels now. So we went back more to kind of the thing that Torva has, where
to give it a boost.
It's a high level armor that gives you a boost in HP. I can understand the reasons why people actually want it the other way, but in terms of the current state of armor, it isn't something we're just going to sit and ignore. So with the current state of armor, currently the whole accuracy versus defense thing is actually quite good. The trouble is, in a lot of places, you're not really using it. So a lot of boss attacks, for instance, won't even roll the attack.
They're just guaranteed damage.
Yeah, they're like we call typeless damage. So they won't even roll against your armor. It's just, and these are things like positional things, like Araxor's swipe, for instance. Like that's a boss mechanic, so it doesn't actually roll against your armor. And there are a lot of these things across a lot of boss monsters, and to the point where actually people are going, why bring my armor? It's all mechanics now. So that's something we've been looking at. We made a big change to rots with that in mind, so a lot of the things in rots now roll, so it's a lot better to take your high level armor in rots. Another one is if you're training Slayer, for instance. Currently, this came up last week. The the Slayer mobs just don't have enough power behind them. They're not like powerful enough to actually test your armor. So you're perfectly happy to go there and fight high level mobs in Bandos armor, because you're just like, well, you know what, they're not going to hit me that much anyway, and I can probably just soul split it. You
can save your repair costs on that as well for, I guess, Leaf Grinding, something like for Slayer, for example, more trash mobs as opposed to mobs.
The big, like, there's multiple ways to come at this. I mean, I saw a really nice proposal by Mr. GW for having like damage scale based on your armor level. That's quite nice. I've seen a lot of people request accuracy back on armor, which is like something we
I guess I'd take away from one iteming.
Yeah, you have to take
with
it
all
off
your
of the
damage
weapon
on the weapon,
then put it back on armor. But all of these things are quite big changes. And historically, when we've done big changes, it's gone down really, really bad, because we don't want to be back in that situation where people feel they have to relearn what they've already learned. So it's something that we're very, very happy to look into. It's just the solutions we're looking for are ones which don't cause a lot of friction. Like if you log in,
a big thing to decide what to go with then ultimately, because you can't just keep changing it again. So.
Yeah, we can't keep changing things, and if we do do a change, we want one change that fixes it, and we don't want that change to cause a lot of friction. We don't want people to log in again and go, what the hell, guys, JX have done it again. 3 times I've had to relearn the combat system, and that's not something we're looking at doing at all.
Okay. I guess the final point they raised then, just to make sure we cover them all off, was having, you know, at the moment you have done some tweaks. You did there was the set of, it was the week after the Worldy one. You did the combat fixes. Was it the week after or a week before? You did a few combat tweaks.
I do so many combat tweaks.
There was like there was a bigger batch of combat tweaks. I can't remember. It was are you planning to do more things like that, or are you gonna? I guess this is, I don't know. This is up to you. I don't know whether you'll be able to say, or Mod Kelpie, you'll be able to say whether you can dedicate time to working on combat and a solution. I guess if there is.
Yeah, I mean, we are having again like conversations about this sort of stuff, and I am keen that if John needs the time to work on that stuff, then we make the time available, and it's not just between little bits between projects or anything like that. We give him the proper time to do that sort of stuff.
It's worth saying with these kind of systemic changes to the combat system, our approach has changed as well. You may have noticed that all of the changes we're putting in are currently in the beta, and then effectively the way I'm running my updates is it has to be greenlit. You know, it has to go through a poll. Everyone on the beta vote needs to say yes before we even stick it in live. So, you know, it's like, in order to make a large change to the combat system now, it's much more difficult.
Okay. I guess that's a lot of answers to some of the bigger questions. Like we said, we didn't want to shy away from it. Spoke to Pi earlier. We wanted to answer those questions. So hopefully those who are playing the beta and giving that feedback, this will at least give you a little peace of mind that you know that is the answer right now.
We're just looking for an elegant solution to what is actually quite a difficult problem.
So we'll jump into more like a general question by Airoltap. Will more mods or different mods be joining the developer Q&A each week? And I guess, there you go.
One right here.
Wait there. So ultimately, so the 4 of us were last week doing a Q&A. We'd like to bring other developers and mods on as you request, really, and when they have relevant content that is going to be going into the game. Like you just showed off Minigame Spotlight and things, whenever we can give a teaser, get feedback on things, and answer questions you have around content releases, etc. That's when we like to bring on other mods and other developers and things. Anything else? Any other time we'd like to bring on other developers? I think really. Anytime you guys want one, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think if there's like, depending on what's going on at the time, if something's relevant, then we can bring on other people.
For example,
quite
art,
a lot of like
if you want to do something on art, etc., we can bring on some of the artists. There's some absolutely phenomenal artists we have at JagX that we can bring on and show off some cool things. If you think back a little while ago, we did an aquarium kind of preview, and I don't know his name. Is it Mod Joe? I just call him Mod Joe.
Yep.
Okay, Mod Joe. He did a full demonstration of the modelling tools we use here at JagX and everything he'd done to make the animations, etc., for the aquarium, which was really cool. And you guys seem to really, really enjoy that. So you know, as and when those things are, we'll bring on more mods. Jumping to another question. Here's a lore question. It's a really, really random one. It comes from Nexus Origin. How did creatures such as the giant mole and megaduck grow so big?
There is an answer to those things in game. I did actually look it up because the answer is very difficult to remember in the middle of a stream. For the giant mole, Weiss the gardener had a slight accident involving a bottle of Malignius Mortifer's Super Ultra Flora Growth Potion.
Is that something that came out of Mod Asherz?
It's a bit of a mouthful.
I don't think
that
mole
name,
is
isn't it?
Christian.
No,
not moles. That was what, megaduck? Was that not megaduck?
that was the giant mole.
Oh, sorry, they're both in a similar area, aren't they? Sorry,
yeah, so the giant mole was reworked by Mod Dig.
Okay.
I can't remember who did the giant mole originally. It was a long, long time back. And as for megaduck, you've stuffed him with breadcrumbs to the point where he gets really massive. It's as simple as that.
I like how that sounds more like a more Crystal answer to me. Like, yeah, you just fed it and it gets bigger, like, as opposed to
Just keep feeding him, he'll slowly get bigger.
That's what done. Another one for you, Mod Stu, from Kulika1. Can Tengu's Suba and the gemstone Kasiki, we were discussing how to pronounce this beforehand, and neither of us really. And gemstone Kasiki be used for anything other than creating the player imports level 85 weapons? I've built up more than I need, and it'd be cool to have at least a use for them.
So that was a very well-timed question because Mod Rowley has just recently, on Thursday, he was working on a improvement to those so that you could use excess Kasikis and Subas.
Nice
hopefully I got that right. To upgrade your existing, to recharge your existing ones.
Okay.
So it was, let me just double check. It was, so you can use one on an offhand to charge at 100% and on a main hand charge at 50%.
Okay.
That fix is currently with QA. We don't have a deadline, a release date for it yet, but hopefully it'll come up with a patch notes soon.
And this is one that I guess we'll send out to Molpie. From Andy Grammer, after the evolution of combat, dwarf cannons now give Constitution experience. Is there any reason for this, and can it be considered being reverted?
Certainly, we'll consider it.
I don't really know why they'd want it reverted. I guess to get untrimmed, help get untrimmed Slayer Cape is potential, but like. Because people used to cannon to obviously keep the HP XP down.
Yeah, exactly.
The only other reason I can think is people used to cannon to get a range level without any constitution levels, or hit points levels, whichever you want to call it, to go into the fight caves and get a world record or a game record for lowest fire cave. But because prayers are no longer 100% effective, that's no good anymore. So.
Fight caves, they are against Jad.
They are against Jad, but what about all the waves with 10 constitution? You get wrecked. So I guess I don't know. What do you think about it? Just
we can do. I mean, I don't see anyone using the cannon to train their constitution anyway, so I don't think it's that big of a problem. If it will help support someone's gameplay style, then yeah, screw it.
I guess this is a good question for everybody, and then we'll do this last question. Then we'll go into some of the questions from the Twitch chat as well, which we have on the screen of people who have asked throughout. So quickly, from Arcblade KB, what would you say is the weirdest piece of content you've ever worked on? And I guess you pretty much all content developers. Sorry, you. Same for me, don't worry.
I tested the Nexus. That's probably the weirdest in terms of it just being weird.
Because it is a bit weird. Yeah. What about you?
I don't actually know. Weird. Depends what you define as weird.
I guess whatever you define as
everything then, technically. It's all weird to me.
Okay, there you go.
I've seen some pretty weird code in my time.
God, what's your most weird code? Like, I guess this depends on whether the developer's still here and start watching or not.
Anything written by Mod Titan. It's weird. A lot of the code written back in the day wasn't written by people that were coders. People were employed who were good story writers and things and good content writers, but they were never coders. So a lot of the old code, like as a technical person, you look at it and go, "What were they thinking?"
They also didn't have a lot of techniques that we have today.
I've got a perfect example of this. Obviously, myself not being a developer, but being fairly interested in the code, and I like to look at learning how to write things randomly. I've taken a look at the drop tables for clues, right? And my God, literally 15 people have 15 different developers have changed this thing, right? I'm looking through it, and it's pages and pages long, and there's a huge amount of code, and I'm trying to work out how it works based on whether you're on Miscellanea or not. And I'm sat there thinking, not Miscellanea, Entrana. And I'm sat there thinking, why not just make it so you can't open it on Entrana? And I'm like, all right, never mind. Regardless, I'm going to go test this out. So I went into game, clicked on a casket. It's like, can't open it on Entrana. It's literally like 10 pages of code telling it what to do on Entrana that just doesn't do anything.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. What about yourself, Stu? Weirdest thing you worked on?
I'm honestly struggling to think of something that was particularly weird. Most of my stuff has been really serious. Dimension of Disaster. There we go. That's weird by design.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, we're now going to jump into some of the questions from the chat. So first one from Legio Nonus. Would it be possible for some OS RS exclusive content, such as bronze trimmed armor or mammoths, to be released in RS3 in the future? In case you don't know, the bronze trimmed, they trimmed all the armors on all different clues. That's obviously from Easy. And then mammoths are a creature in their wilderness rejuvenation that drops level 2 clues quite frequently. Level 2? Medium clues. Yeah.
I mean, it's possible, but I'm not sure it's something we'd look to do. I mean, you at this stage, like the games are different. Each team makes stuff that's relevant for their teams and stuff. And
I guess the thing is, though, a lot of
if it's something that is like one team does something that goes, actually this is working out very well, and we think it'll work out well in the other game, then sure. But yeah, I'm not sure. Like, and we can obviously look more into those sort of things.
All right. So from Slain RS, can the Beast of Burden interface stay open whilst in combat? How's that?
We got a ninja
tricky
fix.
one. Yeah,
I think a ninja fix
he is
in our
actually,
backlog to
sort
to
that
do
out.
something pretty sweet.
I remember like trying to use my yak at DKs with all the spinal ops on you, and you're like, click, trying to get clicking faster, try and get your items out. So
can we say what's actually in our backlog?
Yeah, we can talk about what's in the backlog.
Yeah. So we currently have a job which a JMod is working on this week, actually, which is to have your Beast of Burden interface basically like your inventory is. So you can literally just have it out.
So you get it, just
and you
pop
can
it over,
drag it
around.
I don't think we'll let you eat directly from your bob. Like, that's a balancing concern.
Right,
although, to be honest with you, just go and eat.
I'm going to ruin your day now. What about if you're in the legacy interface?
I'll bring that up.
Stuns. There's not a lot of room though on the legacy. That's the problem. There's a lot of stuff that we like to show as overlays.
Tell you what, if you look at the magic book of the abilities and stuff, you can see that there's not a lot of room.
It's all crammed into this small, tiny
need
space.
to double check that.
Yeah.
I'm sure he is.
Write it down.
Write it
down.
Being written down. Check legacy with.
While he's doing that, Mark Gibbons. From Mark Evans, are there any plans for the announcement of the companion app or any portable RuneScape related bits at all? Any plans? For the advancement, sorry, did I say that? For the advancement.
Companion app, we're not working on it at all at this time.
It takes development time, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the devs who were working on it have all moved on to other things, such as Chronicle and such. So that's not being worked upon. Obviously, we'll try and fix any issues with it that come up. With any of our updates. As for other stuff, can't really talk about that stuff yet.
Mods, you're in a team that's obviously worked on all the player imports, all the player import stuff. How often do you get that on the player imports and the companion app? Like, please.
Yeah, it's quite a popular request, but we fairly recently with the last ports update made it so that you could access your ports from the book, which
that's pretty damn cool. I use it from the G all the time.
Yeah, so that makes it more convenient than it was certainly, but it would be quite a significant undertaking to do a mobile version of that.
Definitely a request. I've closed quite a lot of time on Rune Labs to the point that I had to make a whole rule about not requesting it.
We have a question that came in. I've just scrolled past from Musashi Korean. I'm terrible at pronouncing it. I'm slightly dyslexic. So always the reading things on the spot with the pressure. I get it wrong, right? Just you have to deal with that. And so Mod Pie. What does it take to be a Jagex ninja? I guess I'm a ninja. Wouldn't you have to
you are.
There's four of us on the
sofa. Because you're a real ninja. I'm just like an honorary member.
No, you're a real ninja because
you actually make stuff. You
you make this show.
you help make our backlog. Well, to be a ninja, you just have to have good game knowledge and the ability to just make quick fixes to the game.
Yeah, there's the right sort of people come into it. I think like there's a lot of like max players or nearly max high level players in the team, so we've got great game knowledge. In terms of developers, it's the people who are interested in that sort of like you kind of like fixing up the game and stuff. You kind of a bit more interested in the code, not so much interested in the creativity, the lore type stuff. Like what Stu is, they're better suited for like the teams who are making the quests and such. Yes, same for like the rest of the team. It really is all about just game knowledge, speed, that sort of thing.
So the next question I saw was
good looking as well, right?
Yeah,
totally.
Good looks.
Very from Cyrus Coy has come in with a question. Any hints on the 201st quest? Quest God or the theme? Or God.
Any hints on the
There's a lot of
201st
gods
quest?
in there. Yeah.
God theme or not?
Yeah.
I don't think we can give any hints.
Yeah, that's
like,
something that's they're specifically holding back as a secret for later. So.
I just wouldn't want to mention anything at all in case I give any hints.
And they're going to come at you after the stream.
I shouldn't do any spoilers. You have to be really careful with quests because those you don't want to spoiler at all, really.
Okay. And we're about time to wrap up. There's one more that I wanted to go for, right? And it's from Mod Stu as like the last question. I'm going to put you on the spot here. It's from Tufty Power, and they said, I don't really follow the lore as I never really understood it. So what can you say to convince me to try and get me to follow and understand it a bit more? So this is your like chance to pitch RuneScape lore.
Okay. RuneScape lore is quite unique. There are certain character types like the Majorat, very interesting, very unique to RuneScape. The Tsar also, not something you would see in any other fantasy game. Even when we have races that are well established in fantasy, like elves or dwarves, gnomes, we take our own spin on it. We also introduce a lot of British humour and weird quirkiness to what we do, which hopefully makes it quite accessible. The quests in RuneScape are quite unusual in the MMO scene. They're more like, I find them more like point-and-click adventure games. That's kind of like you have to figure it out for yourself. You're combining items, you're talking to people, you're trying to solve some sort of problem. It's not just simply go somewhere, kill X number of things and come back. And I think that level of depth makes RuneScape quite unique.
So there you go. What's your favorite? Just I guess quickly then, what's your favorite part of the RuneScape lore? What would you suggest people will first indulge in and read up on, maybe?
Difficult one because it's just so diverse. And honestly, a lot of the things that are the most interesting tend to be at the end of the 5th age quest line, like the Majorat.
The Dragonkin and so on.
Yeah, the Dragonkin.
Vampires was a good one.
Just the look of the dragon. There's a vampire quest that is obviously been voted on that you might see soon. I'm looking at you. He's not going to give you any. I'm sorry.
Nothing.
He's not going to give you any teasers, any hints of when it's going to be. But there is going to be a vampire quest, and I guess that's a good area to read up on. Then, ready for the vampire quest.
Oh yes.
With that said, though, we are going to be ending today's Q&A developer Q&A live stream. We have, however, a handover or a crossover with one of our other products here at Jagex. So Jagex is a multiple game studio, and last week we released an awesome game called Block and Load. It's a pretty awesome game. It's kind of like a massive sandbox-esque FPS, which is really cool. So what we're going to be doing is the RuneScape channel itself is going to be hosting the Block and Load channel, as they are scheduled to do a live stream in just a few minutes time. So if you want to just stay around and check that out, then you can. Also, as a RuneScape player, there is an epic cogwheel outfit, which is available if you play 5 games of Block and Load before the 10th of May. So you can also have a look at that on the homepage of runescape.com and see the promotion there. And if you're after that outfit, then you can do that as well. So that's it for this week, guys. Anything you guys want to add? No.
Happy skipping.
Silence.
See you next week. Yeah. Happy skipping. We'll see you next week. Again,
Be nicer next time, anarchy time, please.
Anarchy time, be nicer. I call him Archie time. Just Archie time, be nicer. Again, guys, you can ask questions on the Reddit thread and the forums, etc., on Twitter with the hashtag that should be at the bottom of the screen. Ready for next week. If your question did not get answered this week, then feel free to ask it again. Stay around and check out the host of the Block and Load stream for a few minutes, because it is pretty cool, and check it out, and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.